Right now, let's talk taxes because the new Wall Street Journal op-ed out, and our next guest says there's a good opportunity for reform this year and next, as many of the provisions in the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act are set to expire. Joining us right now is Douglas Holtz-Eakin, president of the American Action Forum, a former director, of course, at the Congressional Budget Office. He wrote in the Wall Street Journal op-ed with former Texas Congressman Kevin Brady. What do you think the chances are? Let's just start with just handicap where things stand. Maybe it's almost impossible to because we really don't know who's in control of what or where they will be when this all happens. But what do you think the chances are that things just float and nothing gets done?
Well, first, let me just say I do want to acknowledge my co-author, Chairman Brady, who was just a tremendous leader when he was in the House. And, of course, all errors in the op-ed are mine. Let's be clear about that. I think the interesting thing about this situation, one of the reasons we wrote this, is that Congress has to do something. I mean, those provisions are going to sunset. The president is on record as saying no one under $400,000 should see their taxes go up. Congress would have to act if he's president for that to happen. Mr. Trump is going to make similar claims. So I think the odds of complete inaction are very low. And so the question is, do you want to frame this as extend what we have or let it sunset? I think that's the wrong way to look at it. This is an opportunity to take what was a really good tax reform in 2017, something we hadn't done in 30 years, and not wait another 30 years. Continue to improve the tax code, and I think the emphasis should be on growth.
Okay, so let's
we have a real growth problem.
Let's talk about what that looks like in terms of what do you think the corporate tax rate will be or should be, but let's also do it in the context of an exploding debt and whether you ultimately think that it's going to be a combination of lowering costs some way or another, which we don't seem to be very good at doing, and somehow raising more money meaningfully.
I think both have to be on the table. There's no question about that. We have a very serious threat in the fiscal outlook, and the growth in the fiscal outlook are interrelated. If you look at the 20th century, GDP per capita, sort of standard of living, grew at 2.4% per year. In the 21st century, it's been 1.4. That translates into a huge difference in people's lives, about $19,000 for everyone in the United States, and in the fiscal outlook, about $1.2 trillion in revenue. So we need to get better growth. And so when we go into this issue of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act sunsets, go into it with an eye toward holding on to the things that worked real well. And I think there's a really strong case to be made for expensing of investment, expensing of R&D. If you do that, no matter how you want to make your company more productive, invest in your workers, invest in your technologies, invest in your equipment, it's on a level tax playing field. We're not distorting any of those decisions. That's good. Limiting the interest deductibility moved toward greater fairness between debt and equity. That was a good step. We can do more. The international tax provisions have been an enormous success. You know, as we said in the op-ed, in the decade running up to 2017, we lost about 10 headquarters every year. And you can remember the fights over those companies inverting. Nothing. We have lost no one since this passed. There was one company that was leaving and came back. So we've had some success. There's some things that could probably be better. Let's do that.
The last time we went round this merry-go-round, it appeared that the business community was prepared or at least willing to take the corporate rate to about 25%. 28% was too much, of course, but 25% seemed to be the number. Would you be willing to live with that number or no?
I don't think it's a good idea to pick one thing out in isolation and say, I got to have that. This is tax reform. Like, you want to broaden the base, keep the rates as low as possible, distort as few decisions as you can, and ultimately improve the fairness of the tax code. Because when you take out those special provisions, you're treating equals more equally, and that's what you want to do. If the rate ends up at 25, it ends up at 25. I think we got the U.S. into the game by going to 21%, and we solved a lot of our international competitiveness problems. That's great for American workers, and we need to keep an eye on that and not do too much in that direction.